Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode here, guys, and you join me for the Season 3 Austrian Grand Prix, the shortest circuit on the calendar with the quickest lap times overall, and it's going to be all about who can set the quickest lap time this week and obviously try and charge forward. We're on a bit of a string of decent results, you know, wins and podiums, and everything's going right in our world right now, and we lead the championship quite comfortably as we head to one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. But is it going to suit our car for this one, and are we going to be able to continue that string of results? Small disclaimer, don't actually have any of the qualifying footage, which was very frustrating because we did get pole position, which is a little bit rare for us, but I was surprised we got pole. It was ahead of both Mercedes cars, but Hamilton had to take a grid drop due to some kind of engine part replacement. But anyway, we line up front row of the grid, and today I'm feeling a little bit bold, a little bit punchy, and I'm not going to try that one stop. That strikes me as being a bit boring. I'm going to go for the two stop, taking a bit of fuel out the car. Try and be a bit punchy, try and push myself a little bit, because for some reason the game thought I needed so much fuel. But anyway, we build with the lights. 5 are on. 5 are out, and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix. We bogged down a little bit off the start, probably due to the extra fuel. Bottas charges ahead of us into turn 1. Can he make the move stick? On the inside, we're on the outside. Got a decent exit side by side with the Mercedes man as we charge up the hill, which is then into what is now considered turn 2 and up towards turn 3. We've pulled ahead of the Mercedes. Hamilton's actually jumped forward quite nicely. He's battling actually Fernando Alonso there on the exit of turn 3, but now Bottas looking very racy. We defend to the inside line. He's in our slipstream. He's going to make a dive down the outside. He thinks about it, but then doesn't really make much of a move. So we have defended the lead successfully ahead of Bottas. Then it's Hamilton third and Alonso in fourth. So McLaren's sandwiching the Mercedes cars at the moment there. The Ferraris are also looking pretty racy. So between arguably the top 3 teams on the grid for this one here. So who knows how this race is going to turn out. I think it all depends on who is on the 2 and who is on the 1-stop strategy. The total race time is only 1.5 seconds difference there. So let's sort of see how it ends, as we already come to complete the first lap of 36 here this afternoon. We crossed the line with a 12.5 opening lap, only 3/10 ahead of Bottas, and Hamilton only 7/10 back. So the top 3 covered by 1 second. We come to the end of lap 3. Alonso has dropped a few places, unfortunately. Raikkonen is on the move. He's up to 3rd, battling Valtteri Bottas. We do a 1.97. That's the sort of pace we're setting at the moment. Bottas, I just couldn't break away from him. Annoyingly, he sort of just kept very close up behind me, and like I say, Bottas is clinging on to me, usually between 3/10 and half a second, and he's got a very good run out of turn 3 on lap 4. Can he stick the move down the inside of turn 4, down the hill, braking at the 100-metre board? Is Bottas going to stick it in? No, he hasn't quite been aggressive enough with the move, a fault of his on the regular, but he's retained outside position. Can he make a move round the outside of the sweeping right-hander? He carried so much more speed than ourselves through that corner, but we forced him out wide, and he hasn't been able to make the move stick. His car would have been horrifically out of position and gone over the rumble strip curbs and potentially ruined his front wing, like we saw a lot of drivers do in the real-life Grand Prix. And come lap 5, you see me looking behind here, because Raikkonen and Bottas have allowed me a little bit of breathing room. They are having a hell of a scrap for second place. Raikkonen trying to hold it all the way around the outside of Bottas there. As we cross the sector split, I've got a second lead now for the first time in ages, where one of them has been all over my arse all Grand Prix. And we got there, Jeff confirming the car behind is 2 seconds back, as Bottas and Raikkonen still battling here onto lap 6. And it looks as if cars have got out of position. Raikkonen is indeed up to second position there by lap 6. And you've got Hamilton there, P3. So let's have a look at this battle, actually. I wanted to capture this because it seemed to go on forever. So, this is lap 5. Bottas locks up, going into turn 3, locks up heavily, goes off the circuit. That allows Raikkonen to initially make the move and obviously have DRS. Of course, those 3 guys do all have DRS. So Bottas tucks in Raikkonen's slipstream, goes towards the outside of turn 4. And this is sort of roughly where we cut to it with me looking back. I thought Raikkonen had gone down the inside, but no, it's Bottas trying to challenge round the outside as they head towards the next fast left-hander. They are side by side. Bottas has the inside line versus Raikkonen here, but Raikkonen sticks to his guns on the outside. Bottas tries to squeeze him, can't successfully make the squeeze. They continue to go side by side through the next left-hander, and that now puts Kimi on the inside for the next upcoming corner, and neither car is willing to give an inch around this Austrian Grand Prix circuit. There is Raikkonen down the inside. Bottas retains the position, actually pulls ahead slightly, but it puts him out of position in the final corner. Raikkonen pushes him out wide, gets the better acceleration. This actually allows Hamilton and Alonso to close up as we head towards turn 1. So Raikkonen currently does have P2, but Bottas is going to come back at him. He's gone wide through turn 1. That should hopefully give him a better exit, and it has. Up towards turn 2, you see there, we've built so much more of a lead compared to the last lap. Bottas now has outside line up towards turn 3. Raikkonen, can he keep it on the inside line? What's going to happen here? Bottas goes wide, tries to go around the outside, locks up again off the circuit. Hamilton's through. Alonso is through on acceleration. Now Bottas has dropped from 2nd down to 5th in the space of a lap, and he's being attacked by one of the Force Indias there. Going down towards turn 4, what is going to happen with Bottas? He sticks it back up the inside of Fernando Alonso. Can he look to get him on acceleration? Coming up towards the fast left-hander here, but no, Alonso appears to have that covered off successfully. So Bottas there in the space of a lap, dropping from 2nd to 5th, and you just saw the constant side-by-side action. Anyway, we cut forward now to lap 9, and unfortunately we just don't appear to have a lot of pace here this afternoon. Raikkonen is on a rampage. That Ferrari is hooked up and all over the back of our McLaren. He easily could have us into turn 3 or coming down towards turn 4 with the DRS zone. Thankfully, we are protected by a yellow flag on lap 9. Not 100% sure why that isn't. Well, as I say that, there we go. Why Daniel Ricciardo has retired, akin to the real Grand Prix. But you can see now as we go to start lap 10, just the train we've got behind us there. It's myself, then Raikkonen, then Alonso, Hamilton, then Valtteri Bottas. The top 5 covered by just over 2 seconds. You could throw a blank, well, not even 2 seconds, just over a second, I would say there. Don't know the official timing. All I know is Raikkonen's having a look to the outside. Is that going to switch to the inside? No, we take the defensive line, give Raikkonen only way he can go is round the outside of us. Try and force him off the circuit. Works to a small degree. Tried to get Alonso through. Then the yellow flags get thrown up for Daniel Ricciardo, so no way through for any car going down towards turn 4. Raikkonen's actually on the back foot a little bit off of that corner. And now we come to the end of lap 10. It is our pit stop lap. You can see the wear on the inside of our 2 front tyres. So we're going to come diving into the pits for our first pit stop of the Grand Prix to fit on another set of ultra soft tyre. Only one other car has come into the pits here, and that is Lewis Hamilton, the Mercedes driver. So he appears to be on the same strategy as ourselves here this afternoon. So we're going to stop. The McLaren boys are going to change the tyres nice and quickly. I hope 2 seconds flat. Accelerate away from the box. Lovely stuff. It's a nice short pit lane here in Austria, so that's 17.7 seconds. Hulkenberg gets through. He's running on the super soft. Sainz is on the soft compound tyre. We slightly tap the wall on exit there. Bump it up to Rich, and we're just going to come out ahead of the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz, looking to go deep into this Grand Prix on the soft compound tyre, but we can't afford to get stuck behind him there. I'll tell you one car that has come really up our inside very late there is the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, who's on a very worn set of ultra soft tyres, but he has been able to get past Carlos Sainz there. So now we need to put on a mammoth of a couple of outlaps. We jump on to lap 12. We're setting a purple lap, fastest lap of the Grand Prix at the moment here. But no one else has pit as of yet, and I'm starting to get a little concerned. They could potentially be on the one-stop strategy as we now come through the final couple of right-handers. We catch up to Nico Hulkenberg. Just look at the speed the fresh Ultra Soft is giving us versus the worn Super Soft. Hulkenberg's going to go defensive as we do a 1 minute 8.7, fastest lap of the Grand Prix as we go round the outside of the Renault before we actually get to the first corner there. That is us up into 9th place there on lap 13. And like I say, cars still haven't come into the pits. It's been 3 laps since we made our pit stop as we now cruise up behind the Haas of Romain Grosjean, and we get the DRS here, but we're not quite as close. Cars are in the pit, so that's Perez and Vettel, and they've gone for the soft compound tyre. Hamilton now setting the pace on an 18.5. So that indicates to me those guys that have just come in are going to be on the one-stop strategy, and that then means for us we now need to build a gap to them as we are fighting Grosjean into turn 3. Take a nice tight inside line. Not too much fuss with the Haas. He sort of stayed out of my way, realised he wasn't fighting me this afternoon, just let me through all nice and calm. So anyway, beginning of lap 15, we finally overtake everyone else who's been in the pit lane, and they've all fit the soft tyres. They've all extended their set of Ultra Softs 4 laps longer than I was able to, and that now means they're on the 1 stop. Hamilton, though, on the Ultra Soft, who's on a 2, has lost a lot of time to me because he got caught up in the traffic, and he is actually behind Raikkonen. Raikkonen only 3.5 back. Then Hamilton, of course, got 1.2 back to the Ferrari man. End of lap 16. We're in the mid 1 minute 9s, which is not exactly electric pace, but Hamilton still on the move. He's on 1.8.2. That Mercedes was lightning fast on the ultra soft tyre, and by lap 18 he's closed up. He's past Raikkonen and closed up to the back of me. You see, I've gone horribly wide in the final corner. I just wanted to try and get a little bit of information here on Fernando and sort of the lap times he was setting. And you see Jeff just giving me all the information here. So he's on a 109.2. So Alonso is faster than me at this point of the Grand Prix, because I'm in the mid to late 1 minute 9s. Hamilton in the mid 1 minute 8s. My front tyres are very worn. I'm not getting the bite from them that I need at this point. And I'm using all of my fuel that I've got available to me. And the Ferraris and everyone else is still catching me. Hamilton's on my inside now towards turn 4. And I try to fight it round the outside, but I've got on the curb and a compromised exit, and Hamilton has completely got me there off of that corner. He's got so much more speed at this point of the Grand Prix. I don't know if he's protected the tyres better or what he's been able to do, but that Mercedes has just had relentless speed on that tyre since the pit stops there, and he's disappeared off into the distance by lap 21, and I'm under pressure and under attack from Kimi Raikkonen here, and all this is doing is playing into Hamilton's hands for, well, obviously, he's making an additional pit stop. I suppose so am I, really, compared to the guys behind me. But I've gone wide here. Just the front tyres not giving me the grip I need through the middle sector here. And Raikkonen's been able to get through on those soft tyres. And that has released Kimi into arguably a net race lead. And obviously, Bottas now up to 4th. Alonso has dropped off from this pack, which is a little unfortunate. But this is the point I sort of realised my tyres were done. I was due to be coming in this lap anyway. Hamilton is already in. You can see the gap that he's built to me just in that short period of him being in the lead of the race. But he's getting serviced onto the super soft tyre. That's exactly what we're going to be doing as well. So once again, we're going to rely on the McLaren boys to be a nice quick pit stop. 2.1. I was a little bit slow on the release, but nothing too awful there. Hamilton is released. Verstappen goes past. Esteban Ocon on the soft tyre. I think he's just going to get through on us, but we are safely ahead of Carlos Sainz. So now it's damage control. Everyone ahead of us there has made their pit stops at the end of the race, and over the course of the Grand Prix, I've learnt that I don't exactly have the pace to win this Grand Prix on the 2-stop strategy. On the 1-stop, plausible, but you saw how bad my car was on the worn ultra soft. So here we go, lap 23 now. We are getting into the rhythm on these tyres, and we are up behind Esteban Ocon here, and we're getting DRS. He will be our first victim in the way of moving up the field. Haven't quite got the exit out of 3 that I wanted down towards turn 4, so we're not able to make an attacking move on the Force India driver, who, bear in mind, has now been on those soft compound tyres for about 8 or 9 laps, so they're not going to be giving him that crispness. And he is fresh for our pickings here, unfortunately. But due to the nature of this circuit, the middle sector is not exactly prone for overtaking. I'll try and get out of his dirty air as much as possible. Don't want to follow him and overheat my car, but I'm just not able to get close enough. Now, this next right-hander could give us a potential opportunity if we were just a little bit closer to Ocon, but this is costing us time for us to be able to get through to the field. So we take the final corner a bit tighter than normal, and we're able to tuck up behind him and open up the rear wing with DRS. Ocon makes a move similar to Hulkenberg earlier on in the Grand Prix. He's got more straight line speed than the Renault, though, so we're actually side by side into turn 1, but we do sweep around the outside successfully of Esteban Ocon, and that is us up into 8th place, and that now puts us next in line to attack Max Verstappen with 12 laps remaining. And unfortunately, I can't run into rich mix as I'm 0.3 of a lap of fuel down. Thankfully, I was able to actually save fuel in standard mix for this Grand Prix, which is quite rare, actually, so I don't know how I was able to do that. But Hamilton still with that relentless pace with the 18.2. We can see here as we come to the end of lap 26, we've built a decent gap to Ocon, and Verstappen is 1.9 ahead of us there. We're once again in the mid 1 minute 9s, which I think is what we're going to see to the end of the Grand Prix. So it's taken us till the end of lap 29 to get close to Max Verstappen, but you can see there just the dirty air, the amount of space I've got behind him, and of course the wear on these tyres not helping me through the fast right-handers. But we've now got DRS and a bit of slipstream as we head down towards turn 1, 19.3. So the lap times are slowly improving or just remaining consistent. Don't know if that's maybe the DRS and slipstream assistance there. But out of turn 1, we're going to be in the slipstream of Max. Are we going to be able to do anything in towards turn 3? We are getting closer with the slipstream power. Is it close enough for a dive? We think about it, and then late decision, yes, we are going to dive into the corner. A little bit of back end out, and you see Max in the mirror there off circuit, so I don't know maybe if he had an issue similar to Valtteri Bottas earlier in the Grand Prix. Here is a replay of the incident. You see Max locking up as we come through, so even with our tail out, no contact made with Max Verstappen. He just went a little bit wide there on the brakes, but that is us up into 7th place now, and you can see here just in the mirror ourselves going out wide, and you see Max is just locked up late corner where he tried to get the car in and didn't release the brake. He just sort of continued to slide wide. Bit of a weird one there. And now at the end of the Grand Prix, again, damage limitation. I'm now trying to charge up behind Sergio Perez with 6 laps to go, including the lap we're on. It's 2.7 seconds is the gap to Sergio. We were lapping quicker than the Force India man, so end of lap 31, we do a 1.9.2, and it's 2.2 the gap. So I was knocking off a few tenths per lap and building the gap to Verstappen. End of lap 32, a 1.9.3. 1.9 is the gap to Sergio Perez as we begin lap 33. As we now begin lap 34, gap is 1.5 with a 1.9.2. My pace was getting more and more consistent, but you can see here now as we end lap 34, beginning of lap 35, we're pushing so hard, pushing the boundaries of the circuit. Gap is down to 1.2 seconds with a 1.9.4, and I need to be within a second at the end of this lap to have a chance at Perez on the final lap of the Grand Prix, and it just hasn't happened. We're not going to be getting DRS on the final lap of the race. I dropped a few tenths in my lap time, and that meant that Perez was able to keep over a second ahead of us there. And that was pretty much all she wrote there, so I just needed to pop the car in lean to make sure we made it to the end of the lap, really. So Bottas has come through out of nowhere to win the Austrian Grand Prix, who was down to 5th at one point, and it's only P7 for us. Worst result of the season.
Today after that excellent race. They've excelled here as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes then are on top today.
So Bottas wins the Austrian Grand Prix in the end from Sebastian Vettel, who got past Raikkonen, who must have dropped to 3rd in that final stint in the Grand Prix. Hamilton, with his final assault, ended only 7 seconds off the lead. So, you know, the pace he showed clearly was there, but the 2-stop just wasn't the one this afternoon. Alonso brings out in 5th for 10 more championship points. No arguments then. Perez split us both. He just had the legs on me in that final stint. So, obviously, we were faster than the Force India today, but is what it is, unfortunately, at the end of the day. Perez with a decent result in 6th. Us, 7th, our worst result of the season, and the 2-stop, clearly showing that it just didn't work for us today. I feel as if we had got the 1-stop, even with our pace deficits, we might have been able to get a podium. If not, it probably would have been 4th place. And then we have Verstappen, Ocon, and Hülkenberg rounding out the points-paying positions there for this race. So Haas not going as well as they did in the real Grand Prix, as it were. So we still lead the championship, but we dropped a lot of points to Bottas here this weekend. We now only have 27 points as our cushion. So still an entire race win ahead of the Mercedes man. But if more weekends like this come along, then obviously that lead is just going to drop very quickly. As we move on to the constructors now, McLaren still hold the lead. No one moved around, but our lead is a drop to 10 points over Ferrari, and then we've got 27 points to Mercedes. So a 3-horse race there in the in the constructors championship. Obviously, the drivers appears to be a fight between myself and Bottas. But the Ferrari guys, you know, if they have more weekends like they did in Baku, then they could definitely get into this one. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed the Austrian Grand Prix. Bit of a, like I say, I tried the 2-stop once again. I know it's something that I tried a couple of times in Season 2 and it didn't work. I thought with our extra pace and our extra upgrades to the car in Season 3, we were actually going to be able to pull it off, especially because the car did feel excellent just out of the pits, but I don't know what it is with Austria. It just destroys your tyres after a few laps. And clearly it hasn't worked out today. So we're going to probably go back to the more traditional 1-stop which is boring for the races, but it does get us our results, and I do want to win the championship this year. But if you have enjoyed, please leave a like and comment any feedback down below. And remember to subscribe and enable them notifications to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel. I shall see you all next time.